Hey, real quick, I was gonna go to Michael Jordan once again, but we gotta go back since you said Kendrick Perkins out of Beaumont, Texas. If we got anybody near Beaumont, Texas in the building, y'all put it in the chat right now. But did y'all hear the quote that Kendrick Perkins said on First Take? He said, hell, when I played at KFC, well, not KFC, OKC, I'm getting like Uncle Neely, KFC. When I played at OKC, it wasn't Kevin Durant who led the team. It wasn't Russ. It wasn't any of them other guys. It was me. I led that squad. That's what Big Perk said. And Kevin Durant responded and said, man, you must be crazy. I've never heard so much craziness in my life, is what he responded back with on Twitter. What do y'all think about Big Perk saying he was a leader? Now, he did win the championship in Boston.
You want me to make it make sense?
He was a leader. Make it make sense, huh?
You want me to make it make sense? I'm going to make it make sense, even though I think he capping. Let me make it make sense. There is no doubt in my mind when I watched that OKC team, because I used to drive up to Memphis, season ticket holder up there in those days, and I watched those Grizzlies Thunder battles. There's no doubt in my mind that the leaders of that team was Serge Ibaka and Perkins. No doubt in my mind.
Serge and Perk.
Durant wasn't going to get nobody face on his own team. Durant wasn't going to get nobody face on the opposite team. Russ was cooking, just doing his thing. You know, he'll squabble a little bit, but when it came time to get in somebody's chest that was your teammate or getting somebody's chest that was the opponent, it was
me. It was me. That's what I did.
Yeah. So if that's how you are defining leadership, Perk, I totally agree with him. If you're defining leadership as in, you know, who's going to give the rah-rah speech, who's going to score the most points, who's going to be at practice early, practice late, hell no, it wasn't him.
Yeah, I mean, the only funny part about it is in that same tweet thread where Kevin Durant responded in that thread, the first thing they do is show Kendrick Perkins lowlights. Like, I don't know if you ever seen Kendrick Perkins lowlights. Man, they horrible, bro. It's so funny.
Yeah, everybody got lowlights.
It looked like Shaq and a fool. And so, and really, man, you know, I think that, like, to Uncle Neely's point, like, sometimes the guy who's the guy when it comes to being the most talented isn't going to be the most vocal, and he's not the guy who's going to be able to get people together when things go bad. And I think that's probably something, especially like when there needs to be an enforcer. So I would say they definitely, I do feel like Kendrick Perkins was maybe the emotional leader, like to get people like riled up, you know, or, you know, when there needs to be a hard foul or to take that charge, probably so. And I think KD is looking at it from a perspective of, right, wasn't nobody following you. You wasn't like that. But at the end of the day, when you go back and look at it, you can probably see evidence of both sides. Hello, what's Serge Ibaka got on his head too?
Serge started laughing. No.
Yeah, because like that's the first time I said. Now, having watched him play in person and watched him play on TV, I'm gonna say it was Serge over Perkins.
Yeah, I go.
Man, you didn't want no Ibaka smoke back then, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you probably didn't want no big Perk smoke either. Now
I'm not talking about the opponents. I'm talking about your teammates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You probably didn't want no big Perk smoke either. Now Serge too, but like you said, I think both of them might have been the veteran leaders.
I feel like in his mind, like really, like Perk probably was like the leader, and he probably would get up there and say stuff. Because you got to think about it. Sometimes he believed everything he say. I 1000% don't think Kendrick Perkins be capping.
No.
Even some of the craziest stuff that he says, he believes. So I can see him going to the locker room, having a speech, and him being so big and forceful, they probably be like, pause. Him being the way he is, they probably be like, all right, Perk. And then they had their own little meeting on the side. Like, look, this is really what we're going to do.
Amen, dudes. I told you it happened. Yeah. And I told him I see him leaving that team meeting, believing he the leader. Not knowing he the meeting after he left.
Yeah.
They probably had a meeting like, man, we ain't understand nothing that dude said. We just let him get up here and talk.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta just let them, you know what I mean? Like, all right, look, ain't nobody.
You do have those guys on the team sometimes that feel like they're the leader or want to be the leader, but everybody else is like, we would rather follow him, but we appreciate what you bring. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to step on your toes and them, but go ahead, say what
Man,
you're gonna say.
look, Boston was Paul Pierce's team.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett was the leader.
Oh yeah, once he came over there, he was the heart and soul.
Ray Allen didn't care enough to lead. Paul was going to lead on the floor. But when you're talking about emotional, getting in your face, challenging at practice, making sure everybody where they're supposed to be, no excuses, man, that was the ticket.
Right.
And I can see like a Perk doing that on the team bus, leaving the hotel, and he thinking he the chairman of the board, because he the one stood up and said something.
Right.
But I think he was trying to step into that role based off of seeing his experience in Boston, and it's just funny how it came out. I think he probably tweeted it wrong. Instead of saying he was the one leader, he probably said myself. He probably should have said myself and a couple other veterans were the ones leading that team.
Or said more of a leader than the leading scorer was, and Durant wouldn't have been able to say nothing to that.
Yeah. But he can say dog.
They say no.
Nobody follow you, dog. That's the most ridiculous thing I've seen. That's funny.
And one thing we got to discuss when you look at that, they opened up this conversation, not us, so we ain't throwing no shade on nobody. But it's much like Dukes and his coaches. Not Dukes, Chico and his coaches. Dukes. The only common denominator is Chico. And so when you look at what happened in OKC, you look at what's happening in Brooklyn, you look at what's happening in Phoenix, the only person that's been all them places at the same time is KD. At some point, you got to sit back and go like, is this dude the first ballot Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he one of the greatest to ever do it at his position? Yes.
Oh, appreciate
it. That dude got a little cancer too now. He got some baggage.
Did Oak just call me KD?
He called me something like
your problems. Like
Jimmy Butler the same way.
When you have a baseball coach that don't know the football coach, that don't know Lil Faith, and you've got the same experience in all three of them, but you're the only one in all three places, it's you.
Lord have mercy.
Oh now.
That's tough.
But hold on. Let me see.
These issues, it's KD.
It's KD. Yeah. Well, he did win championships in Golden State. So who's the problem then?
There's no doubt he's talented. One of the greatest ever. One of the greatest ever.
Just got to be in the right situation.
Yeah, no, one of the great. No, it don't matter what the situation is. He's gonna come out. He's sensitive. His feelings on his sleeves. And we live in this world of, hell, even we have this platform. We have this world where people get to discuss you, and he don't like that kind of stuff. And it impacts.
Well, KD, we gonna discuss your it's over here, dog. We talking about you, dog. You feel me? That's what I'm talking about.
KD, one of them guys, he's not gonna be a company guy. Okay, how you slice it, and that's okay sometimes. Like you know what you get. Like I said, I would rather deal with a guy and I know what come with it. Like as far as being on the team, like when you trade for Jimmy Butler, you know what comes with that. Now we forget he got his way up out of Minnesota too.
Yeah,
that wasn't the first time. He forced his way up out of Minnesota. So go ahead, Chico, you mute a bit out.
And then he also forced himself out of what was the last team he was with before Minnesota? It was Chicago, Minnesota, and then Philadelphia. Philadelphia too.
Yeah, so
who's the problem?
Yeah, after a while,
the organizations. Not me, the organization. So I tried to come here and do right.
Golden State knows that, and they still when they got Jimmy Butler, and they knew that, and they still was going. They were going after KD again.
Right.
So Golden State is like, look, sometimes, perfect example, when Randy Moss went to the Patriots, sometimes you got to understand what you got in your locker room and what you can withstand and what you can't. So nobody else would touch. Man, they got Randy Moss, who had one of the greatest wide receiver seasons ever for a 4th round pick. And nobody would take it.
Before that, though, previously, he was in the Raiders, though. And he didn't flourish as much with the Raiders. So I think they thought that he was on a decline. That's why they traded him for that 4th round pick. Goes with Tom Brady. And boom, that shows you right there. It's about the environment, I think. But it's also about the mindset of the player. Randy could have went in there with the immature mindset. But I think he was that experience with the Raiders, and then just natural growth and maturing was the perfect storm for him to go with Tom Brady and the Patriots at the time. I think.
Yeah, he was like when he was with the Raiders, he was far from done. He was
right.
He was
it's the quarterback too.
Yeah, and Moss was just straight up tripping. Like he was tripping. Like it's almost like when you understand, like when you a head, when people paint you out to be a head case, it don't matter what you do on the field. Like Antonio Brown left the game in his prime because he was a head case. Like, that's all it is. Like right now, Antonio Brown can probably go get 1,200 yards in the NFL today.
Absolutely. I think he can still play. Yes.
Absolutely.
But did he mature at the rate that Randy Moss did? That's the question. I don't think he did, and that's why he's sitting at home right now. No. Man, forfeited so much money with the Raiders.
When you talk about the responsibility of the player, you look at Moss. You look at Moss with the Raiders, and then how he regrew up when he got with the Patriots organization. But conversely, you look at people forget when Ocho Cinco went to the Patriots, and you didn't hear nothing because he didn't conform. You know, he went there and said, "Okay, what plays y'all got for me?" And Belichick get open, and if Tom see you, he'll throw the ball. Like that ain't the way we do it here. You know, Welcome working for his, everybody working for theirs. We ain't setting on the side for somebody just because they name. And by the way, your name is gonna be Chad Johnson here. Like you ain't gonna be, we ain't gonna be calling you. And so it didn't as much gas as Chad Ocho Cinco still had in the tank. It didn't work in that environment.
Yeah. And that's a perfect example. I think, environments, not just the common denominator. You got to get with the right environment. You know what I'm saying? And Antonio Brown didn't. Chad Ochocinco didn't. Even when he went to Miami, it didn't work. I think if he would have went to somewhere, let's just say the Falcons or something, it probably could have worked out perfectly for Ocho. And, he probably could have had a Hall of Fame career